What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, and we are so back, people. Back in the studio. It's felt like 2 months, but it's actually only been 2 weeks. But good to be back, people. And yeah, I've still been going to the games, so quite got away with that one. But haven't been able to be in the studio, unfortunately. But it's good to be back with all of you guys.
How are we feeling? We still on the Frank train?
Of course we're still on the Frank train. Choo-choo, man. I think, look, obviously last game was horrific. But I felt like at half-time, like I had a lot of people around me complaining. But the sense I got at half-time was just like, keep going in the manner that we're going in, and we would have got that goal. I don't know what happened at half-time and what happened in that second half, but we couldn't respond to any changes that Wolves made, which is worrying. It is a worrying sign and a worrying trait. But it was just an absolute shit show, that second half. Like, we couldn't put two passes together. I feel as well, like, I know we would have broken them down if we carried on playing the same way, and we were a much better team in the first half. But when you're playing against these kind of teams at home, this experiment's got to end now. We can't play with Rodrigo Bentancur and Palhinha in the same midfield. It just can't happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think you got it spot on, but in terms of we didn't respond to the changes, but which is confusing because Frank said after the game they planned for 4 at the back and 5 at the back, but because they weren't sure which way Wolves were going to play, they changed it to 5 at the back at half time.
Yeah,
it seems as though we didn't have an answer to that. But that's the thing in terms of you saying just play the same way and it would have been fine, but you can't. If they change it, you got to change it.
It's
as well.
true, but we didn't play the same well regardless. Like, I think
because we couldn't.
But a lot.
Tried to.
The thing is, a lot of the problems that we saw on the pitch in that second half, I don't even think were tactical and structural. I just think like the players just completely shut the bed in the second half.
I think it was tactical and structural.
I don't know. Maybe it was a bit of both. But we couldn't play two passes together. Every time Vicario was getting it, he was hoofing it out of the pitch, out of play. There were other players as well that were just panicking and just kicking it out of play. I mean, they just seemed to lose all composure in that second half.
Yeah, I think definitely at 1-0 down, I agree with that. I think we kind of were playing a lot of the game like we were in the last 10 minutes, just hoofing the ball, trying to basically. It was maybe too much urgency. I think that's what Frank was kind of implying after the game, saying everyone was panicking, everyone was kind of showing a lack of composure. And I think that's something we have to figure out. Obviously, Bournemouth, we saw that at home as well. In that game, we went 1-0 down early, and we just never got to grips with the game on that occasion. And I think Wolves came out in that second half, changed kind of the formation, added a kind of overloads on the wide areas, and we really struggled to kind of combat against that. And once they got the lead, I think we just started panicking massively. And that we really kind of just were lumping the ball forward early. It was almost as if like, okay, we're 1-0 down. We need to show as much urgency as possible. But we still had over half an hour left. Like, we still had time. So I think that's obviously a part of the game we need to learn, how to be a bit more patient, how to break teams down instead of just being really direct all the time.
Yeah. But you got... What do we have to do to start with Javi in the 10, a left winger out wide, and Bergvall and Palhinha or Bentancur sitting? Like, I think if we would have started from the off, I think we win that game.
Yeah, what's funny is that when he changed it to that, it got a lot worse.
Yeah, it's true.
I think that's what Frank would say, but I agree with you. I think if we would have started with that midfield, given how Wolves were in the first half and how many chances we were creating, it seemed as though we could only create chances once we gave it to Kudus. Apart from that, we were still struggling. So if we had Simmons there in the middle with Bergvall a bit deeper, he had Odebert on the left, I think you would have seen a lot more chances created. And I think Wolves were already struggling to handle what we offered. I think they would have struggled even more if we started that. But I think once we changed it, with like half an hour to go, the legs are a bit heavy. But Bergvall was... tiring a bit. You could see he was struggling to keep up. I felt in that last 20 minutes he was struggling against Bellegarde. They brought on fresh legs. The dynamic is a bit different, and all of a sudden we needed more energy. We needed Sarr in there. Yeah. So, but I think if we started with the fresh legs in that formation, I think it would have been different.
Yeah. So I don't mind so much starting Sarr ahead of alongside one of Palhinha or Bentancur, but you can't play them two together. I just like maybe against a team that are going to come at us and we have to hit them on the counter. But when we're asked to dominate the possession, these two can't play with each other.
I agree.
And he's tried it too many times now.
In these games, there's no need for it.
Yeah.
Like, we're the ones in the ascendancy. Like, I don't understand why you have to be so pragmatic. I guess if you're frank, you would say, in that first half, if we scored those chances, we're not having this conversation. Probably.
Yeah, that is true.
Game. So I get that, but I would argue if we didn't play that midfield, we probably would have had more chances and more likely to score that opening goal.
Yeah. Look, you're playing against a team against Wolves. I know we haven't beaten them in a while. I think it's
six times now.
6 games now that we haven't beaten them in. However, winless, drawless. They had 0 points so far this season. You go out and pummel them into oblivion, and I think we go and win that game convincingly. So it's just very frustrating that we didn't take the points in that game, because at half-time, I was happy with what I saw, and I just thought, just keep going in this manner, and we would have broken them down eventually, and it just didn't work out that way. And after they took the lead, I just couldn't see a goal coming for Spurs.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you dominate like we did, have the chances, and then we don't score. You're susceptible to that happening.
I've seen it so many times with Spurs as well. It's just like, that game on the weekend was just classic Dr. Tottenham working right in front of your eyes.
But that's the thing, when you are dominant and you don't take advantage of it, you're susceptible to the change of game state, because you haven't taken advantage of when you've had the tactical upper hand. Then they change it, but you're not going to change things because it's been working. So when it gets to half time, they know what you're going to do because you've been dominating. So they know that you're not going to change something that's working. So if they can change it and they can plan for what you're going to do, then you're now stuck, because you're not going to change your approach until it stops working. But by the time it stops working, it could be too late, and that's kind of what happened.
Yeah, I do get that, but I just feel like we've got such superior quality to them. And even if they change their formation and we stick with the same way that they're doing, maybe it'll get a little bit better. But we should still have a more quality than we showed on the pitch on the weekend. Like, we literally could do nothing against them. Nothing. They locked us down in every area of the pitch. And I think a lot of it was individual errors. And I think the players have got a lot to take the blame for as much as the manager on the weekend.
But I think it was clearly tactical. I think you could see we were getting all those advantages out wide, and the manager changed it to shut those things down. He put the wing backs on, he changed the formation, and all of a sudden we had no answer to it. Tactically, you can see we weren't getting those same advantages that we were in that second half. And then obviously, the players themselves, they panicked at 1-0 down. They panicked, but to be fair, we still got the draw. So at least they didn't give up, which I give them a bit of praise for. And that was a good goal we scored. But yeah,
Palhinha pissed me off though, man. First of all, Palhinha, I love the guy because he's been brilliant for us. I think he's been the signing of the summer for us so far. I think, apart from the Bournemouth game, I think he's been brilliant in every game. But why is he taking off his shirt? Why is he running to the crowd and celebrating? It's 1-1 against Wolves, man. You go get that ball and you put it in the centre circle. Like, what are you doing? Seriously.
Didn't understand. And this is a player who's going to pick up bookings as well for fouls and tactical fouls and things like that. So just getting another needless yellow in that situation as well seemed a bit much. And to celebrate that hard for an equaliser at home to Wolves, who were pointless this season, was a bit OTT.
I don't even care who it's against, right? If you're equalising towards that latter stage of the game, you're at home, you go get the ball. You need to go and get the winner. There's not enough time to celebrate. It was literally a minute to go, a minute left to play. Like, go and get that winner. I remember so many times like where Harry Kane used to score like last minute winners. Never would he go and celebrate. He would always go get that ball and try put it in the centre spot. That's the mentality you need, not to snatch a draw against Wolves. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
So that was very frustrating, and I was really annoyed with him at that moment in time. But don't get it twisted, because I love the guy. I mean, I think, what's the old cliche? Never fall in love with a lone player. Well, I think we're all falling in love with Palhinha at this moment in time, because he's been fantastic.
Top goal scorer.
Yeah, unbelievable. He's been fantastic, and some of the catalogue of goals that he scored so far, the overhead kick, that goal, the finish against Wolves. I mean, he's getting some really good calibre of goals.
Yeah, and. Yeah, there's a weird discourse online I see with him. Some people think he's amazing. Some people think, look, he's okay, but very much upgradable. Like, I looked, for me, I really like what he's doing at the moment. I think he's easily been kind of the best midfielder we've had in that position so far on the pitch. I think he's doing a great job. Yes, there's things he can improve on, but the amount of duels and tackles he wins is incredible. It really is.
Yeah, agreed. I love him. And yeah, when I'm talking about who I want in my midfielder, I mean, I think he should probably be one of the first names on the team sheet most games. But look, even against the Wolves, you probably could have done without him and gone with a Bentancur in the 6 and gone with a Bergvall and a Javi in the middle, or a Sarr and a Javi, or you know, there are many options. But like I keep saying, like, just please don't play Bentancur and Palhinha in these games. And I think Frank will learn from his mistakes, albeit we said that after the Bournemouth game, and he's played the same midfield against Wolves. So we'll see what happens moving forward. But look, I'm still fully on board the Frank train. There's no reason not to be. We're sitting third in the table with 11 points. It's been a positive start to the season. It's not been all positive, but it's his start. It's his like first 4, 5 games, 6 games of his Spurs tenure, and I think there's been the positives have massively outweighed the negatives so far.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, it's not all going to go right straight away. He's got things have to go wrong, so he understands the team.
Yeah,
and he understands what works and what doesn't. That all comes with the territory when you appoint a new manager, and he has to work through the problems. He has to learn from the players, learn from the team, even just simply. I think on the weekend was one of the first times this season we've played against a back three, like at all in that second half. So we didn't react well to it for one reason or another. But we'll analyse it. Okay, why did this back three affect us so much? Why did we? What did we not do well? What were they doing against us, which we struggled so much against? How can we change that? And that all comes part of the learning process, and that's what Frank will take from it. And that comes when you've got a new team, a new set of players that you've got to learn from.
Yeah.
And I know, like, you have Arne Slot who comes in and, you know, he things go right from straight away and he wins the league. But, you know, Frank's coming into a very different kind of situation, and he's a different kind of manager, and it's going to take time. All this, it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to be patient. Understand, you know, not winning against a winless team like Wolves is frustrating, but those are the things you have to go through so he understands.
Yeah. But then again, you know, you come back from 2-0 down against Brighton, which was like the polar opposite of what we went through at the Amex last season, albeit they got the win and we didn't get the win. We went up to Man City and won 2-0 fairly comfortably. So I think there's been, you know, some really good signs from Thomas Frank and moving forward. And I trust that he's got the tactical flexibility, the tactical nous, the players at his disposal in most parts of the pitch to figure out these issues. I do worry about our forward line at number 9 and at left wing. Is it good enough? I don't know. Like, it's been a mixed bag from Richarlison so far. I think he's getting the goals, obviously 3 goals so far and an assist, so you can't really complain with the numbers that he's putting up so far. But there are some games that does worry me with Richarlison. And left wing, I think left wing we've got a clear problem, don't we?
Well, the problem at the moment up front is that it's only Richarlison fit. I think
Yeah.
I'm not really worried. It's just a bit frustrating at the moment because we have 3 strikers and somehow Richie's the fittest one of the 3. I don't know how that's happened.
Isn't it? Madness.
I think if we had all 3 fit and he was rotating and we had other players battling for that position, I think all 3 of them are good players and all 3 of them can score goals. I'm not really worried about that position in the long term. Just right now, it's a bit frustrating. Richie's the only one fit. He's playing every game. Some games he's playing well, some games he's not. And that's a bit of a frustration. Yeah, left wing is a conundrum right now. No one's really grabbed that spot. He's got 3 options there, really. Sorry, he's got 4 options if you include Xavi there. I feel like he's just playing Xavi because on the left because he can do a job out there, and all our midfielders are actually playing quite well at the moment.
Yeah.
So he feels like the midfielders probably justify their place in the team, and the left wingers don't. So maybe that's why he's choosing Xavi out wide. But I think long term, he's got to find a solution there, and I think he's got to start trusting Odegaard, Tell, and I don't know, Johnson or Boadi a bit more.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I do think it's mainly because the midfielders are playing so well. Like Pape, hard to take him out of the team. I know he came into the last game with a bit of a knock. You know, they're all playing very well. I don't think there's a midfielder at the club that isn't playing well right now.
That's the thing.
And with Javi, you are not getting the best out of him though with playing him on the left, are you? I think he kind of does go missing in games a little bit when he's asked to play on the left-hand side. But, you saw what he offers when he came on against Brighton. It completely changed that game. He was brilliant. I think he created more than anyone on the pitch in those last half an hour, and he really dragged us to that draw. And he could have snatched the winner himself. He probably should have. So look, it is what it is. A lot of positive things to go on. Third in the league, 11 points.
Fourth, I think, now after our
Oh, is it
win.
fourth?
Yeah.
Fourth in the league. Well, still a decent start, but fourth in league, and we got the Champions League coming back around tomorrow night in the Arctic Circle in Bodø. When we played there last year in the semi-final, everyone was like, "Oh, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity." Well, it's two times in a lifetime opportunity, it seems. We're going to start off with the predicted lineup. The press conference isn't going to be done until later this evening. So, of the injury problems that we know about, what have we got?
So, positive news: Davis, Takai, and Basuma all back fit and training, although Takai and Basuma aren't available tonight due to registration. Ben Davis, though, back available, so whether he'll be rotated back in is really good. Moani and Solanke still missing. I don't know what is going on with Moani. Last week, dead leg in training. Pape Matar gave him a dead leg. So he missed the Doncaster game. We're like, okay, fine, it's a dead leg, he'll get over it in a few days. I mean, I used to get a dead leg in the playground. I was played the rest of the game, but apparently footballers' dead legs are a bit more serious. Maybe it's not the dead leg I'm thinking about, but he then missed the weekend, and now he's missing again. So what? I mean, is it a dead leg? Is it something more serious? I don't know, but he's still missing.
I mean, surely it's got to be something more serious, because if he's out for this long with just a dead leg,
I know,
it
it's
can't
been a
be just a
week.
dead leg, surely.
It's the third game he's missing, which I'm assuming he's missing.
It's very peculiar.
Let's hope he's back as soon as possible. Solanke seems as though apparently felt more pain in his ankle, so that's really not good news. Let's hope he can get again.
Solanke barely had an injury before he joined Spurs, and it's been non-stop.
It's really frustrating for Solanke as well. Every press conference, Frank is saying it's nothing serious and he'll be back soon. But then every training session he seems to be missing. He was back on the grass a week ago, and he seems to be out of training again. So that's a problem that seems to be not going away. Dragoshin, hopefully, I reckon after the next international break he might be available.
You reckon?
Because he's been back in training now for a few weeks. So Frank said he's a few weeks away. That could lead to back after an international break. Maybe we'll start to see him.
Don't know what state he's going to be in though when he gets back fit and even gets on the pitch, because ACLs, it can take you a long time to get back to proper full fitness. We saw Rodrigo Bentancur. I mean, look at Rodri right now. Rodri's a bit of a shadow of the player that he was pre-ACL, when he got the Ballon d'Or and everything like that. So I'm not saying Rodri's, he's not a bad player right now, but he's just not at that levels as he was beforehand. So I think ACLs, we still got to be very patient with him.
Yeah, but I'm just feeling potentially after the next international break, maybe we'll start to see him get reintroduced. But I don't know if he's going to be available for this one. Obviously, Kulusevski, Madison, still long-term injuries. Not going to see them for a while. Maybe, although Frank did say Decky, hopefully before the end of the year, which is positive. But so still a lot of problems injury-wise. But hopefully, maybe we'll start to see Takai soon.
I hope so.
But not tomorrow.
Yeah, shame we didn't get a kind draw in the Carabao Cup. Otherwise, Takai could have been used in that game. But I doubt he's going to throw him in the deep end at Newcastle away.
No.
So, look, let's make a stab at this predicted lineup. 4-3-3 as per usual. Obviously, in goal, I'm guessing it'll be Vicario.
Well, we're guessing, but last couple of games, is there question marks about him? Didn't cover himself in much glory against Brighton, I felt, anyway, with that goal that we conceded.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, Wolves on the weekend, didn't cover himself in much glory with that one as well.
It's true.
A lot of people calling for Kinski. I don't think he drops him, though. I agree with you. But is there a conversation to be had?
I think if Vicario keeps putting in these performances, yes. As of now, he's still our number one, and I want to keep it that way. I mean, look, I think a lot of people do kind of focus a lot on the mistakes that he makes, which is fair enough, but he does save us a lot as well, Vicario. So, you get the positives and you get the negatives with Vic. And against Wolves, I was actually quite happy with the way he was playing out the back in the first half. And in the second half, it just completely went to shit, didn't it? I don't know what happened to him in the second half, but he kept panicking. He kept kicking the ball out of play. It was just so frustrating. And yeah, a goal against Brighton and the goal against Wolves, he was definitely culpable for. But yeah, for now, I think he still stays as our number one, though.
Yeah, it's only been a couple of games. I think before that Brighton game, you could say he barely put a foot wrong so far this season. So, yeah, I think he retains his place. I don't think there's a real question yet. But as you say, if he continues to make these mistakes, I think Kinski's got to get a shout because against Doncaster, he played really well.
Yeah. So for the four at the back, at right back, Porro obviously got rested in the last game against Wolves, so I'm assuming he just comes straight back in.
And he's going to be an important player. Obviously, when we played Bodo last year, he was brilliant, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Got a goal, and I think he's a very important player for us. I think we missed him against Wolves, just that ability to that passing ability from the back, then build up. I think Spence did all right in the first half, but I still think we missed that ability from Porro.
Yeah, it's not at the same level as what Porro can do, unfortunately. And, you know, I think every time he doesn't play, you do feel it in terms of our chance creation and just progressing the ball up the pitch. So Porro right back. Left back is interesting. Spence against Destiny Udogie. I kind of feel like he will go with Destiny.
I feel Destiny's playing better at the moment. Although, obviously, they both started on the weekend. Midweek, Destiny didn't play, did he? It was Spence and Porro against Doncaster.
Destiny came on, yeah.
Destiny came on. Yeah, I feel Destiny...
Spence has played every game, hasn't he?
Spence has played every game. Yeah, he hasn't been rested, has he?
No, so I think it's time for Spence to have a rest.
Yeah, so I think Destiny comes in left back. And I thought he was very good for large parts of the Wolves game again.
Yeah. Centre-backs, I think it will be just a classic. Cuti Romero, Mickey van der Ven. I think both of them are just having fantastic seasons so far. I was saying this to Daigle in the ground on the weekend. It's like Romero barely gets the plaudits that he deserves this season because of how good Mickey van der Ven is actually playing. I think Mickey's probably been close to our best player so far this season. You're seeing a different side to his game this year than you saw last year. And I think it's kind of overshadowing how good Cuti Romero actually has been.
That's interesting. I would say I thought Romero's been our best centre back. Well, look, I think they've both been brilliant. I think that's the headline. Again, that partnership has been fantastic.
But what I'm saying is, like, everyone seems to be waxing lyrical about Mickey van der Ven this season or all the time, and I feel like Romero, from the general perspective, is not really getting the plaudits he deserves.
Maybe. Look, I mean, maybe that's the. I mean, I haven't noticed that personally. I think Romero's been getting a lot of plaudits. Look, maybe that's true. For me, I think they've both been brilliant. I agree. I don't know. I haven't seen Van der Ven get more plaudits than Romero necessarily. I mean, maybe that's something within the ground. To be fair, I've not gone to too many games this season. Maybe that's something when matchday fans notice. But I think Romero's passing ability, again, phenomenal. Even against Wolves, phenomenal. He is just... They've both been so consistent this season, barely had a bad game. I think Van der Ven is doing a lot less of that running in behind, those long hamstring strain stretches, runs that he had to do under Ange last season and last couple of seasons. Hopefully that leads to less fear that this big hamstring injury is coming. Hopefully he's being used in a better way.
Tried one marauding run up the pitch against Wolves, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. They seem settled. They seem to be more protected as well. And Romero, I think his passing, we need to utilise it even more, I feel, because he picks out some wonderful passes and sometimes we don't take full advantage of it. I think they're both having great seasons.
Yeah, agreed. So that's the back four of Pedro Porro, Cuti Romero, Mickey van der Ven and Destiny Udogie. Moving into the midfield.
Every game is so hard to pick midfield options.
Yeah, I do think João Palhinha retains his spot in the six, in my opinion. I think he's been fantastic, and especially in a game like this against Bodo, where it is a potential banana skin. I know we might have went overboard with the potential banana skin last year, and we actually made quite light work of it. But again, they're going to fancy their chances.
And also, I was speaking to a Norwegian fan in the fan show after the Doncaster game, I think it was. He said Bodo are going to come into this with a different team because they're mid-season now. So they're going to be in a different place physically than they were against us. And he thinks it's going to be a much tougher game for Tottenham.
Very well could be.
Time round. So, look, I think, Palhinha is going to be needed. we're just going to need to keep breaking them up and making sure, because when they get into full flow with their football, it can be very hard to stop.
Now, the other two positions are interesting. I think Pape starts.
Yeah, I was going to say so, yeah.
I think Pape has to start. I mean, obviously, we haven't seen him for the last couple of games, is it? He didn't play.
He came on against the Wolves, but he didn't play against Doncaster or Brighton.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's been fantastic so far this season. One of the best performing midfielders that we have, a goal threat, covers so much ground as well, which we're going to need in this game. So I think it'll be Palhinha sitting next to Pape Matar.
I mean, it could be Bentancur.
Yeah, it very well could be, but I just think it will be
But
Pape.
Gray.
You know what? Archie Gray was fantastic against Doncaster, and I wouldn't be against seeing him play, but I just think he's going to side with Pape.
Yeah, I agree. I think Pape. Yeah, I think Pape gets the shout. Does he do what we all want in this game and finally start Xavi in the 10? I guess he did against Doncaster, and it wasn't exactly a massive success. But
No, I think he does. I think he does go with Xavi in the 10. I think that he's going to want him to break him down through the middle. I think Frank as well is someone who kind of learns as he goes. And yeah, look, he has tried him in the 10 against Doncaster. It wasn't great, but that is his position. And if we keep persisting with it, get him to learn his teammates, learn the routines, learn the system, I think he'll keep getting better and better, and he needs more time there.
yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he does. I hope he does. It could be anything, but yeah, I guess. Bergvall, does he? So he rests Bergvall for this one. We're thinking.
Yeah,
He wasn't great, was he, Bergvall against Wolves?
should have got a goal.
Should have got a goal. All right, we'll go with Tell here.
Xavi.
Sorry, Xavi, not Tell. Xavi.
Yeah, Xavi in the 10. Look, right wing.
Obviously, Tell is not in the squad.
Yeah, right wing will be classic. Mohamed Kudus. And I like Kudus, and I think he's been brilliant so far for us this season. But again, my only kind of gripe with him is that he's not getting too many goals or too many opportunities to score goals.
I thought Wolves was one of his. I mean, first half, that was probably the best we've ever seen him, I would say.
Yeah, and he's playing fantastic. Don't get me wrong. That second half against Brighton as well, I thought he ripped that fullback to shreds. And you know, he is getting better, in my opinion, and he's a fantastic signing for us. But I just want to see him be more of a goal threat. And I guess we did see that a little bit against Wolves. That little interchange between him and Bergvall for the offside goal was fantastic.
Yeah, and then hit the bar as well. Yeah. He had that shot, which led to Palhinha nearly getting a penalty. So he was much more looking to score goals in that game.
Yeah. So look, Kudus definitely on the right wing, the left wing. So we're basically deciding between Johnson and Odebear, I'm guessing.
Yeah, Johnson, Odebear. Yeah, pretty much the only two options, isn't it?
I think he might go for Johnson, you know.
I know, but I don't want him to. It was interesting though against Wolves. He brought Johnson on, then moved Kudus over to the left and put him on the right, because I thought Johnson against Doncaster on the right looked a lot better.
Yeah, he
than
did.
He has done.
He was actually taking on his man.
Yeah, he actually looked quite good, but then again, that is Doncaster. Didn't really work as well when he put Johnson right, Kudus left. I didn't like that. I didn't like the link up between Kudus and Udogie. I don't think it would make sense. It doesn't really work. So they both like to do similar things when they get in that position on the wide area.
I would be fine with having Odebear there. Like, I know Odebear hasn't really pulled up any trees since being in the team, but at least on the left he asks a question and likes to take on his man. It's what he does after that, I think, which is a bit of a problem.
What I like he does compared to Johnson is he'll link with Udogie and he'll play that little pass in behind to get it to free Udogie, and Udogie becomes more dangerous when Odebear's there rather than Johnson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think his general play, keeping the ball and just interchanging with other players, even if he's not himself, you know, creating chances or getting shots on and stuff. Yeah, I want to see more from that. But in terms of general play, like Johnson will just get the ball and lose it or go backwards and it won't be dangerous. Whereas at least Odebear, he'll get the ball, he'll protect it a bit, and he'll find those little passes to Udogie to free him. Whereas Johnson won't do that, or he'll fail at doing it when he pass him behind. So those little things which won't get the praise, but at least it's a lot different to Johnson.
Yeah, but then on the flip side of that, Brennan, you know, you went back against him to pop up with a goal.
It's also true. He's more likely to get a goal out of nothing.
So, I mean, Odebear, we haven't seen that trait in him, have we? So, it's a difficult one. I just got a feeling because Odebear's, had a bit of game time over the last couple of weeks, hasn't really made the shirt his own, I think it'll be Johnson.
All right, let's go Johnson. I reckon I can see a 60-minute sub for him.
Yeah, very well could be. But then up front is the only fit striker in this squad, and that is going to be Richarlison, albeit we do have Dane Scarlett.
Exactly, we do have Dane. He's on the bench.
Dane Scarlett didn't even get a minute against Doncaster, did he?
Didn't. No.
And I think if Frank has him in his plans whatsoever, he would at least have seen like 10, 15 minutes against Doncaster, surely.
Yeah, he would have thought. He was on the bench as well against Wolves, but didn't come on again. It's going to have to be Rishi, isn't it? But you just got to be a bit careful with him because we know his injury problems and overworking him can be a bit of an issue. Obviously he played 90, didn't he, against Wolves? It's a quick turnaround.
I thought he was pretty poor against Wolves as well, to be fair. But would you consider Johnson in the 9 and Odebear out left?
Yeah, I'll consider it. I mean, I don't think I'd do it. I'll probably side with Richie still, but I think it's something. I mean, we haven't seen any evidence that he would play Johnson up front, even though that's something that fans kind of suggest. But
he has played in the 9 against for Wales, but it's normally in like a 2 up top as opposed to a 1.
Yeah, I'm saying Frank hasn't utilised him there yet. But maybe he could spring a surprise. I don't think he will, though. I think he will go. Yeah, I think he will go Richie. I don't know. I don't see Brennan particularly faring well in this kind of game. I don't think.
The only reason I'm saying it is because Frank has obviously said before that he needs to be careful with Richarlison and his minutes, and because he seems to be playing every minute at this moment in time because of the injuries that we have. Like, how is he going to be careful with him?
Yeah. At the moment, Moani and Solanke both being out is very frustrating.
Yeah.
Very frustrating from that point of view. Obviously, Tell has been taking those minutes, but he can't play in this game. So maybe it's a case of Rishi plays and maybe Tell starts off on the weekend, which he did against West Ham.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. But look, I think Richarlison. We'll go for Richarlison up top. And this is the predicted lineup going into the game in the Arctic Circle tomorrow night. Vicario in goal, Doggy and Porro at fullback, Romero and Van de Ven at centre-back, Pape Matasar with João Palhinha and Javi Simmons in the midfield, Brennan Johnson on the left, Mohamed Kudus up top, and Mohamed Kudus on the right, and Richarlison up top. So that is our predicted lineup going into the game tomorrow night. 8 p.m. kickoff in Bodø. And yeah, I mean, I was there obviously at the back end of last season for that Europa League semi-final. What a city. What a population. I think the whole of their population can fit into the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and there'll still be about 20,000 empty seats, which is crazy. You can walk from the airport to the stadium to the centre of town in the space of like 5-10 minutes. It's just crazy how small it is. And the whole of the city is going to be geared up to this game. Everything is going to have Bodo flags, all the houses, everything is just going to be geared up to supporting Bodo. The whole city is going to be behind them, all 42,000 of them, or however many it is. And when we played there at the back end of last season in the semi-final, everyone was saying, this is a potential banana skin. They're a really hard team to play in Norway, which is very true. But I felt like Spurs found it a bit easier than maybe everyone was anticipating at that moment in time, particularly it being a European semi-final as well. Now, like you mentioned before, they're bang in the middle of their season. They're going well. I think they're second in the league. They're a point off top with a game in hand as well. This time in the Champions League, they drew their first game, if I believe, against
Prague.
Yeah, so they were 2-0 down in Prague, and they got it back to 2-2. Which shows, no pushovers whatsoever. How do you feel that this is going to be different to the game at the back end of last season?
Yeah, I mean, they're in a different way physically. Apparently, after the game, leading up to this game, the Bodo manager has been saying, he's been talking about the lead up to this game and discussing their defeat to Spurs last time out, and he said he felt the biggest difference for Bodo at the moment is just physically they were not as sharp as they could have been, and they weren't in the best place physically because they were right at the start of their league. He thinks this time round there's going to be a smaller gap there. And we know, we've seen in European competition at home against good teams, they are a force to be reckoned with. They're very, very hard to play against. I know we beat them, and fair play to us. But look, maybe we just played well on the day, maybe we caught them on an off day. Maybe they're not as hard to play against as we think. But I do think on this occasion it's going to be a very difficult day. Again, playing on the 4G pitch, which they're going to be a lot more used to. More used to how the ball reacts to and all these different things. I think physically, if they get on top of us and they press us and suffocate us and play that football that we have seen against good teams they can play, I think it's going to be a difficult day for us. But what I would say is, we at the moment anyway, we do seem to be a bit better playing away from home than at home. I think the way Frank has us set up at the moment, I think lends to better away displays, because we like it when teams come on to us and try and beat us and leave a bit of space. And so we can go into a bit of a mid-block and exploit that in the transition, all that kind of stuff. I think when teams like Wolves and other teams sit back a bit and ask us to kind of dominate possession, at the moment, I think we're coming a bit more unstuck in those situations. So I don't think playing away from is necessarily a bad thing for us, but I do think also an element of revenge. We knocked them out in what was maybe for them they don't know when they're going to be in another European semi-final, do they? Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a massive game for them, and the fact we made relatively light work of it and we stopped them from getting to a final, they're going to want to show that they're capable of beating a team like us, because it was a big day for them, and unfortunately came unstuck at the end. But it kind of like, okay, now you're playing a big boy, and they ended up like getting beaten relatively easily. I think they're going to want to show in this game we can mix it with teams like this, and we can show that. We're going to prove that. So I think there's going to be a bit of extra motivation for them in this one.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, first of all, what you're talking about revenge, and also is this their first time in the Champions League as well? So I mean, last time when we played them, it was their first time in a European semi-final, in the Europa League semi-final. Now it's their first time in the Champions League, and I know they went over to Slavia Prague, but this is their first home game in the Champions League, and the atmosphere is going to be dynamite, packed into that small stadium, which obviously I mean, it was such an unbelievable experience to go there last year. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it out there this year, albeit I was dying to go back. But the fans are going to be right on top of them, supporting them all the way outside and inside the stadium. And you cast your mind back to last year, we didn't go there and play like the classic Ange ball. We let them have the possession. I think they had over like 60% possession on the day. We just kind of sat in our shape, waited for our moments and attacked. And I think it's going to probably be a similar way of applying ourselves in this game, where we're going to be sitting in our shape. We've got players like João Palhinha, Pape Sarr protecting that defence, with the defence that are playing so well as they are at this moment in time. And the thing is with Bodo, as much as they're a good attacking side, you can get at them and you can find those spots. That it's rare that they keep a clean sheet. So I think we'll find moments against them for sure. And I think with the way that we defend and the shape that we hold, I think they might find it hard to break us down.
Yeah, I think I'm fairly confident that we'll go there with the upper hand and with the superior quality. If we defend like we did, like we have been doing this season, like we did when we last went there, I think we got obviously the opening goal from a set piece. But it was a bit of a different kind of game, because we kind of knew one goal for us, and that was the game, because we were 3-1 up. So that first goal was obviously massive on that occasion. It's a slightly different kind of mentality going into this game. I think Bodo are going to try and be a lot more creative than they were in the game when we played them. I saw against Slavia, I was looking at the XG, I think they conceded 2 XG and had like 3, so like it was a very open game. That's how they like to play Bodo. They're not a team that sits back and soaks up pressure. They go at teams, and they
particularly at home
teams,
as well.
Yeah, and they really attack. So I think that should suit us. But if they catch us on an off day, all of a sudden we could be on the end of a bad result if our attack isn't clicking. And to be fair, our attack hasn't really clicked so far too much this season, apart from maybe a bit of the Brighton game. Our attacking play has been a bit disjointed. So I think Bodo will be looking at thinking, if we go like toe-to-toe with them, footballing wise, with how disjointed our attackers look, could they get the upper hand? Maybe that's what they're feeling. But hopefully we take what was going well in the Brighton game and try and use it in this one.
I think as well what will stand us in good stead is that the majority of these players have played there now. You know, it's a new experience going to play in Bodo in the 4G pitch, like you mentioned. Such a small city, such a small stadium. And it's kind of probably a throwback to a lot of these players playing in the academies and stuff, playing in stadiums like that. But to play there in a Champions League game, a European semi-final, is a different experience. And that's why a lot of teams do struggle there. High altitudes as well, being it very high north in the Arctic Circle. And with our players already kind of experienced that and already positively experiencing that, and probably it'll bring back quite a few good memories for these players, celebrating getting into a Europa League final and celebrating with the fans and stuff, and kind of playing in that kind of intense atmosphere with the Bodo fans just completely on top of them and so loud. I think that will stand us in good stead.
Yeah, I think so. I think that experience will benefit us. It's not as much going into the unknown. I'm trying to remember what happened in the last game, because I remember what Richarlison started off the left, didn't he? We had Solanke up front. I remember Ange added a bit more physicality because he felt we could dominate them aerially in the box.
It was Bissouma, Bentancur, Kulusevski.
Yeah. So will we learn from that and do something similar? But obviously we don't really have the players potentially to do it to the extent that maybe we did it in that game.
Well, we got João Palhinha now, and he obviously adds a lot of physicality into that midfield, alongside Pape, who I think is can hold his own physically. I think Javi obviously is not as physical as the other players. Brennan Johnson, I think, played last time. Mohamed Kudus is obviously a very physical player as well. Richarlison played last time off the left, but he's physical. So I don't worry too much from that aspect. And the back four is the same back four as what predicting that we played last year.
Yeah, I remember in the home game as well, we had a very clear tactic: get Solanke and Rishi on the pitch, get Porro whipping crosses in, and cause problems, and exactly what happened. I think that was very clever. Obviously, we're not going to have maybe that dynamic in this one. We're going to have Richie up front instead of the left, with probably Johnson, Kudus there, but we should have different elements to our play. Maybe we can be a bit more intricate. If we play Javi in the 10, hopefully, if they're going to, it's going to be quite a congested pitch. Hopefully, in those tight spaces, against a team who aren't that physical, Xavi can kind of work his magic. And that's what I think maybe we can do differently this time around.
Yeah, but you can see as from this table, I mean, they're a team that definitely knows where the bloody back of the net is. 15 goals in their last 5 games as opposed to our 10. And, we've been scoring a fair amount as well. So, but they have conceded 6 to our 3. So I think that's where we need to just kind of pick holes in their defence, because teams doing it week in, week out in the Norwegian league. So there's no reason why we can't be doing it in this game in the Champions League. So I think we need to go in there and stamp our authority. We've got the better players, and we need to play like it, to be honest. Do you think we will try and control the possession, or it will be a bit similar to last year where we'll just kind of sit in that shape and try counter?
I think he's going to analyse it and he's going to say, let's sit in. And also, thing, I think we scored from set pieces, didn't we, against them?
Yeah.
Last time.
Did Porro score a free kick?
No, Porro, it wasn't a free kick, it was a cross that just went all the way in, wasn't it? Solanke scored from the corner.
Porro had that free kick that went really close, didn't it?
Porro had a free kick. I'm trying to remember in the home game, it was a penalty.
Well, Brennan scored in the first minute.
Brennan scored in the first minute, and then who scored the other one? I remember Solanke scored the penalty, and then was it an own goal?
It was Madison.
Madison the first half.
Yeah.
Porro, long ball over the top. But yeah, corners is something they are susceptible to because of their lack of physicality, lack of height. So that's something that we've been doing really well this season. So I think Frank will know if we keep a clean sheet and sit in just make sure, break up their little pattern to play, which is where they're really dangerous from open play. Get set pieces when we can, take advantage of those. I think that's going to be a really good kind of plan to beat these lot when we go there, because we know we're going to have the advantages from those set pieces, I think.
Yeah, it'll be massive as well if we can go there and win 2 wins out of 2 in our first Champions League games, setting up the group stages as we mean to go on.
If we get a win, 6 points out of 6, that would be fantastic. Is a draw a good result, though?
I mean, if you ask me right now if I take a draw, no. But a draw could be a good result in the grand scheme of things. But I think, I think we got to win. I think we got to win. When you're playing, look, no mean to be disrespectful to Bodø Glimt. I know they're a good side, but, 9 times out of 10 times, we should be beating them with the quality that we have. So I think a draw, I think we have to go and win. I don't think a draw is a good result. I mean, look, in the grand scheme of things, if you go draw in your European games, it usually is a good result. But when you're playing this kind of opposition, you've got to win, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I wouldn't take a draw, and I think we're favourites, obviously overwhelming favourites, given the fact we beat them last year in the run to the Europa League. I think having that knowledge in the bank, knowing that was a lot simpler than maybe we expected, I think we're going to this game confident we'll win, and I think there's a lot of advantages. But playing away from home in the Champions League against a team who have a very good home record, you can't take anything for granted, and they're going to come out with a bit of revenge. So, look, as much as I think we should win, and I'm confident we can win, if we do draw, it's not the end of the world. It's just, you take the point, you move on. If you get a point away in the Champions League, I think it still sets us up in a good way to get in that top 8, even if we get a draw out of this game.
Yeah, I feel like when you're talking about is a draw a good result, to go away to PSG, a draw would be a great result there. But to a team like Bodø Glimt, I think we got to be beating them. And I think if we do go and beat them, if we can win our home games, which we've already beaten Villarreal, which is the second hardest team that we got to come, with Dortmund to come a bit later. If we can win our home games, and it gives you and win tomorrow night, it gives you the opportunity. Well, you can actually take a loss against PSG, and you're still confident you can finish in that top 8.
Yeah. I think even if we draw this, we could. I mean, as long as we're winning the other games that we should at home, especially. I mean, we could. We want 15 points. We're saying. I think 15 or 16. So that's 5 wins out of our 8 games. I mean, you'd like to think even if we draw this, is there not another 4 wins there?
Yeah, I mean, you'd assume so. So we got
Copenhagen,
Prague at home. Do we have
Copenhagen, Prague at home?
Dortmund at home. So Dortmund at home, Frankfurt away, and PSG away. So I kind of think you do need to win this one, just for that buffer.
Fair.
Yeah, so that's the preview. What's your prediction?
I just got a feeling we draw, to be honest.
See, that's why you're trying to set yourselves up. So, draw's not a bad
I really don't think it's a bad result. It's just, it's not a good result, but it's not like a terrible result. Obviously, I want to win. I do get the feeling that we're going to go there and it's going to be very difficult for us. They're gonna be a bit more not up for it, but they're gonna be out for revenge a bit. I just got a feeling it's going to be like a 0-0 or a 1-1, like a very close game. Our attack hasn't quite clicked as well. I'm also wary of that. I reckon we'll score maybe from a set piece, but maybe they'll find a moment as well.
I think the set pieces are going to be very key for us because, like you mentioned before, they're quite a small team. So we should be able to bully them from set pieces, and our set pieces have been brilliant so far this season. I'm going 2-0.
2-0?
Yeah, I think a repeat scoreline of last year in the semi-final. I think we're going to keep them. Look, I think they will have a couple of chances, but I think for the most part we'll keep them at arm's length with the midfield sitting in a little bit with the defence that we have. I think we can keep them out, and I think we can pick holes in their team as well. Like, I think the longer it stays 0-0, I feel like they're going to get a bit more frustrated and try and push the issue a bit more, and I think some gaps are going to appear. I won't be surprised if this is like 0-0 at half time and then Spurs find 2 goals, one from a set piece and one from maybe a counter attack in the latter stages of the game. So I'm going to go for 2-0.
All right.
So let us know your score predictions in the comments section below. You have got a triple on the watch along tomorrow. Myself, Sim, and Mr. Brian Daigle. So come and join us on the watch along. And obviously it's the fan show after that to have your say. So come and call in, have a chat with us about hopefully 3 points in the Champions League tomorrow night. I'm gassed. I cannot wait. Always get so excited when Spurs are playing and then you see them playing just like,
the game starts.
Yeah. But no, we're going to win tomorrow night. But let us know your score predictions in the comments section below. Spurs going out to the Arctic Circle to Bodo Glimt once again. Let's move on. Just before we do that, we do have a super chat here from Charlie Vale saying, welcome back, Ben, and congrats on everything. Thank you very much, Charlie.
Big up to you, Charlie.
I've seen a lot of your comments, by the way, over the last 2 weeks, and I appreciate you all feeling the love for sure, and thank you very much for all the good wishes that you've been sending to myself and my family. But look, we've got some comments to react to. Let's just take this lineup away. Yeah. All right. So let's get into the comments. Obviously, the We Are Tottenham Army have been super, super strong as always in the comment section, and we're going to be reacting to the best comments. So what have we got?
All right. So just to remember, we're in having your head. We did just draw to Wolves after these comments, so maybe a lot of them were quite reactionary. Sarko-Tai77 says, Richie, Dom, Tell, Odebear, Johnson, that's our problem. None are really good enough for a team that aspires to be top four. Deki and Kudus are the only two that could walk into a City or a Liverpool. They all need selling. That's around 230 million wasted there. If we can get back 150 million, that would be better than trying to soldier on with them until they become unsellable. Some of them are no better than Scarlett, Moore or Lancashire, who should have got the minutes that we are giving to those wasters.
I feel like with that comment, it's like, it's just a bit hyperbolic. Mm-hmm. I get what he's saying. I do think we lack quality in the forward line. First of all of them are better than Scarlett, Moore and Lancashire, for sure. I wouldn't be against selling some of them. I do think we need better quality in the 9, and I think we need better quality in the left wing. But I think all within their own right, they're all decent players. Like Tell, I think he came on and you know, I think he did good and bad when he came on. Obviously, he made the goal with that pass into the centre of the park, but there are a lot of times he was just getting the ball and losing it, and sometimes he just comes on and runs around like a headless chicken. Haven't seen much as of yet to say that he's going to be that player that we thought he was going to be, albeit he's still very young. Odebear, he gets the ball, he can beat a few men, but then he lacks a quality a bit after that to provide the cutting edge. Dom Solanke, I mean, we haven't even seen him this season, but he's a player that, you know, whenever anyone gives him praise, it's all about his hard work. It's never really about his footballing ability, which does worry me a little bit. And I want to see him getting on the score sheet on a regularity, which we all thought he was going to do last season, which never really happened. His injury problems are worrying. Richarlison's injury problems that he's had over the last couple of years are extremely worrying, albeit hasn't had it this season. Richarlison, I think, like, he's a bit of a mixed bag. Like, some games he's been brilliant this season, but then some games it's just like, don't know if he's actually good enough. So, yeah, Brennan Johnson, we all know the problems that Brennan Johnson have. So I think, like, when he says like none of these players will get into a team in the top 6, he's probably right.
Well, he said City or Liverpool, but maybe top 6 as well. Look, I think at the moment I can understand the frustration with these players because they're not kind of doing it. But I don't believe they're all good enough to be in the top 6, but I do believe they're all good enough for Frank to use. I don't believe they're all useless. I don't believe that you can't do anything with these players in your team. I really believe that you can. And I think Tell and Odebear both like really young, and they both just need time for Frank to work them out, how to profile them, how to best use them. And I think they will come. I think those are two players who I think the quality will start to shine through. You just got to be a bit patient with them. Johnson is just, I think you've just got to you know what he's good at and what he's not good at. He will get you a few goals, but he's doesn't offer too much else, and that's a quality that's good to have in the squad. But I think can be frustrating at the same time. For me, I think with both Richarlison and Dom, they're both good strikers who could get you each 10 to 15 goals, like as your starting striker. But I think the problem, what we've had with both those players is they've never been fit at the same time. We're always heavily relying on one or the other. If you had them both rotating, I think you would see both of them play better, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, you know, what some people say, you know, availability is the best quality, and unfortunately, both of them have had massive injury problems since joining the club, and it's just been the most frustrating thing. But I feel like even with both of them fit, I still think we're missing a bit in the number 9. Kolo Muani hasn't come in yet, so we haven't seen him. Hopefully he can like provide that quality that we desperately need, but it's hard to make a judgment call when you haven't seen him. So from what I've seen so far this season, I think we're crying out for like a top 9 and a top left winger, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think definitely left wing there's a massive gap. I'm just not too worried about the 9 at the moment. Like I wouldn't go signing another 9 in January. I don't think that's a smart thing to do. Like I think we're fine with the 3 we have. Like
yeah, we need to see what happens with Kolo Muani for sure.
And no, I think Rishi and Dom as well. Like I think they're all fine. I think they've all got 3 good strikers in my opinion. HD Racing Company says, why is everyone so reactionary? The target for this season should be to break back into the top 4 and maybe win a League Cup or FA Cup. In order to succeed, you have to set small objectives to achieve large goals. And I know a draw may be frustrating, but at least we got something from it. Had we taken our chances in the first half, we would have won, and their goal should have never got in. Incredibly scrappy. Sorry for the long comment. I don't need to apologise, mate. But yeah, I think a lot of people obviously unhappy with how things played out. But at the end of the day, look, it's a frustrating draw, but it's still very early on in Frank's tenure. You know, he's got to work these things out.
Yeah, I think so, and I think a lot of people's gripes is as well as just like how boring it's been to watch and maybe how unpleasing on the eye the football's been so far.
Yeah.
But especially after coming off like, you know, the first 10 games of Ange when we were playing like this unbelievable football and winning games and battering teams and stuff. But I've been happy. I've been completely fine with the way we've started this season. We should have beaten Wolves. I think the only game where we've really been outplayed is the Bournemouth game. That game was worrying, but on another day, we probably go in at half-time 2-0 up against Wolves, a penalty given as well, and we go on and see that game out. It was just very frustrating the way it went, and it is worrying the way we responded in the second half, but I still think objectively, if you look at the game, that we should have taken 3 points in that game.
Obviously, as a fan, like when I answer this question, the answer is going to be all the next game and as soon as possible, but obviously we're all content with the results at the moment and, you know, how things are going, but obviously, as you said, the football's hard to watch at the moment. At what point, like, do we want to start to see it clicking? Is there a time limit? Is it just when it happens, it happens? Like, at what point do you start to get worried that we're not seeing some sort of cohesion in that front line?
I think you just got to let Frank do his work, and then at the end of the season, you kind of sit down, review things, and see in the direction that we're going in. But look, I think the way Frank clearly says in each press conference, you know, about the attacking football and how that's how he wants to play, and it's important that we play front foot attacking football and all that kind of stuff. So I believe him when he says that, and I think it's just a kind of process that we need to go through. We need to make us defensively sound, and we are defensively sound, and I think the structure of the team from that aspect looks really good, and I think his next kind of job now is to make us more kind of a fluid team to watch and a more exciting team to watch and start playing that front foot attacking football. And I think he'll get there. He will get there. People got to just calm down a little bit. Like, we're 6 games into a season.
No, that's fine. I'm just saying, and you know, you're right. Like, Frank's been saying that himself. He said it after the game. He said the foundations are there. We're not conceding too many chances, but now it's about adding layers to the attack, and that's obviously a process. And I agree. I'm not saying I expect Bodo to be this free-flowing attacking football. And if I'm not seeing it, I'm not happy. I'm just saying what about come November, it's still not there. What about December, we're still not seeing it. What about January? Is there a point where you'll say, if we're not really seeing it by this point, that's a bit of a concern?
But the thing is, right, in the last couple of games, we have been seeing progress in that aspect. In the Brighton game, I thought it was a lot better than what we saw prior to that. And in the first half against Wolves as well, I think it was better, come on a little bit as well. Obviously, the second half against Wolves was a step back, but I feel like you're already seeing it in motion and it getting better. So, yeah, look, I think, Frank's got to be given a lot of time. Like at the end of the season, like I said, we got to sit down then and review it and see how it's gone over the course of the season. And I'm sure we're all going to be looking back at it and being like, look, we're onto a good thing here, and let's keep going in this direction and this manner. But you also got to look at it, right? You're looking around the Premier League at this moment in time, like who is playing that front foot attacking football that are just so exciting to watch week in, week out at this moment? I don't think anyone is.
Well, it's interesting to say that because clean sheets have massively increased this season compared to last season.
I feel like football's going in like this kind of direction now.
Well, teams have definitely at the moment seem to be tightening up.
Yeah.
And compared to last season where it was more about attacking, at the moment teams are being a bit more defensive, albeit we just came off a weekend with loads of goals. But yeah, it seems to be a lot more focus recently on set pieces, tackles, transitions, all these types of things. So maybe Frank's onto something with how we're playing, but still, you want the games to be enjoyable. At the moment, look, I'm not saying they're not enjoyable, but we're not there yet. But I don't expect us to be there yet. But
football is enjoyable if you're winning.
Of course,
football's enjoyable if you're winning. So if we're playing like this and the front flowing football hasn't clicked yet, but we're finishing in the top four and we're getting another trophy behind our belt, like who's going to care?
Yeah, true. Fox Spock says, Solanke is our first choice option. We miss his hard working so much. He is the most physical striker. We just missed tap-in goals. Richie missed a lot of those opportunities. Johnson and others would be the ones who'd appreciate the most Solanke opening zones of them by drawing defenders to him. Really underrated.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I do think we're missing Solanke in the sheer work rate that he puts in. He just tires out centre backs, and I feel like once he gets back into the team, he like the comment mentions, he will be drawing a few players out, and it might leave a bit more space for the likes of a Mohamed Kudus to get him behind a little bit more, or whoever we got on the left wing to flourish a bit more. So I can't wait for Solanke to get back in the team because I think he is something that we're missing right now.
100%, and I think his protection of the ball, I actually think he's going to link up really well with Xavi when Xavi's in the 10, because I don't like when you notice against Brighton and against even in times against Wolves, Xavi really likes to get the ball and play directly into the striker and play off him and like use him as a backboard kind of. And I think Solanke's so much better at that than Richarlison. And I think Xavi's really going to enjoy that as well. And I agree, he commands so much attention, Solanke, as well, because of his physicality. It does leave a few more gaps in the box. And I think once we get him in there with Porro and Kudus whipping those crosses in, we're going to be even more dangerous. I think Richarlison does a decent job at it, but I think Solanke does an even better job at it. Roger Payne, 5336 says, at this point, played 6, lost 1, drawn 2, 1-3, points 11. New manager, same squad who finished 17th, except for Kudus, Palhinha, Simmons, and Moani, which we know quite a lot. While we still have long-term injuries, considering half of the original squad are bang average and Vicario ballsing up on the regs, it seems losing to Wolves in stoppage, I'll take a point and we move. Come on, you Spurs. Do you agree with that, considering half the original squad are bang average?
What, half our squad now are bang average? Is that what you're saying?
I guess that's what he's saying. So he said same squad to finish 17th, and considering half the squad are bang average, we're doing well.
Nah, I think I think we got a decent squad here, and I think like with the squad that we have, I think we can finish top 5. And if you want to call top 5 like bang average, like I think 17th was a massive kind of undervaluation of what this squad actually is. It really was, and you know, plenty of problems went into last season. I don't want to go back into everything on last season. Don't want to get in a fight with Sim on my first day back, but I think that, you know, we've got a good squad here. We've got a good squad. It's nowhere near the finished article and the finished product in terms of a squad. We need to add more to it, 100%. But I'm looking at, Chelsea's squad right now and what Chelsea are going through. I feel like they're weaker, actually, from what they were last season, which is mad to think about the money that they spent. I think we can finish above Chelsea this season. I genuinely believe that.
They seem to be struggling as well with the demands of the Club World Cup. It's putting a lot of their squad.
I've seen PSG as well. Like they got to the final and they're like
loads of injuries. Yeah, I think a lot of them are really struggling. So I agree. I mean, Newcastle, we would have said big threats, and they're looking okay, but they're currently 15th in the league.
Yeah.
It'll be a tough start. Like that top 4, top 5. Is up for grabs.
Yeah.
Absolutely up for grabs. And there's no reason why we can't be the one to take advantage. And I don't agree our half a squad bang average, all these things. But I agree he's doing well. I wouldn't say he's doing well considering our squad is bang average. I just think, look, he's learning from the squad. And even while he's doing all these things, he's still also keeping results. So I think he's learning with the squad, he's adjusting, he's learning what works and doesn't work, and all while he's keeping us competitive in the league table. So
and also, you're talking about our squad being bang average. When have we ever had options like this off the bench? Like suddenly you're looking at our bench and we've actually got players that can come on and make an impact. Like, and it's not just 1 or 2 players as well. It's like literally a whole bench.
And you got Deki to come back. You got Solanke and Moani to come back.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of players there that are really going to add something to the team.
Yeah.
White Cloud says, what the bollocks? Vicario didn't panic. He's just so weak in his 6-yard box. That header was easily gathered without pushing it away. He really reminds me of Aurelio Gomez. Good, but a pain when he can do better. Give Kinski a go.
You know what? He does have a bit of an air of the Gomez's at
But
times.
when people say that, do you think that's a criticism?
Well, it can be taken as both because like he can be fantastic and unbelievable at times, and his shot stopping ability is phenomenal. But then again, at times he can flap at things, just kick the ball out under pressure, under no pressure, and it just gets very frustrating at times.
I agree. I don't think he's ever done a mistake as bad as what Gomez used to do.
No.
Like even though the mistakes recently have been pretty bad, like Gomez used to literally it'll be a simple shot going straight towards him, and he would literally grab it in and fumble behind him or something. He has done some really awful mistakes. Gomez, really embarrassing ones. Whereas Vicario's his mistakes are a top keeper probably would have saved it. He should be doing better, but it's not like a howler.
But those are how many? When you're looking at Vicario, I think he saves us a lot more than he costs us.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot more. So I still think he's a very good goalkeeper, Vicario. He's just very frustrating at times. There's just literally, if I watch the first half against Wolves and watch the second half, it's felt like 2 different goalkeepers in goal.
Sometimes he can give you an air of panic in the defence as well. I think he causes panic occasionally. Because I feel like he's a brave goalkeeper, but he doesn't have an air of calmness. You see some keepers when they're on the ball, they're calm, they know what they're doing. Whereas Vicario feels because he's so active all the time, he's got so much energy. He's got that passion, energy, he pumps himself up. Sometimes he just needs to calm himself down, and he doesn't do that enough.
Yeah.
The known guy 2221 says, I think we need to throw 50 million at LAFC. They've got one of the best finishers in the world in some dude called Son Heung-min. He looks like a very good player.
Mate.
8 goals in 8 games, is it? On 7 games for Sonny? Wouldn't mind him on that left-hand side.
Watching him balling out, I know it's just the MLS, but he is literally
it's so easy for him.
Yeah, he is. He's tearing that league apart. He's way too good to be in that league. And we said it when he signed there. It's just Son should not be playing in the MLS right now.
It's clear.
It's a lifestyle choice. It's not. He didn't make it on a footballing decision. He made it for a lifestyle choice, and that's fair enough. If that's what he wants to do, then that's what he wants to do, and no one can begrudge him of it. But every time I watch him play now for LAFC, and I'm literally watching every single one of their games at this moment in time. Yeah, I miss the guy so much. He would still be in our first 11. Like, no two ways about it. Like, he has got more than enough quality to still be starting for us. I felt like a lot of the time last season, we didn't do him any favours of the role that we got him to be playing in the team last year. And I think Frank would get him in a position where it would be much more suited to him. And yeah, it's just such a shame, man, because we're missing star quality out on that left-hand side, and he would provide that. And
I was reading a comment which I think, you know, it makes a good point. Like, as much as I don't think him balling out in the MLS is proof that he can do it in the Premier League, although I do believe he can. Like, Bale went to the MLS and he struggled because he was really finished. You know what I mean? And he actually, when he went to MLS, he actually didn't dominate like Son is doing, because actually his legs had probably gone to a higher extent, whereas Son's gone there. And it's so easy for him because his legs aren't gone. He's got a lot to offer. And in my opinion, like, what about a 2-month loan in January? One of those 2-month loans.
You know what? I saw you guys speaking about this, and I was like, please, just make it happen, man. Can you imagine Kane and Son back? For one last swan song, man. That would be quite something. But, you know, you could talk about, fine, watching him in the MLS is not a barometer to see if he can still do it in the Premier League. But first of all, he did it against USA. He did it against Mexico. He's probably going to do it against Brazil next month in the international break as well. This guy still has so much quality. And correct me if I'm wrong, didn't he finish with our most goal contributions last season as well?
22, yeah.
Out of everyone. So, I mean, all these people that just quickly pushed a button on saying this guy's finished, this guy's washed. Just because he's passed his best doesn't mean he's washed and he's finished. He's still got his best was so high. That just means he's still got so much more to give. You know what I mean? Like, I love Sonny, I miss Sonny, and I still think he could still be balling out for us right now.
There are some players that have made the trip. I remember Defoe went to Toronto for a bit, then came back to the Premier League.
Yeah.
Any chance?
There's been plenty of players that have done it.
Maybe Son could be one of them. Who knows? He seems to be very happy to be honest. But maybe.
But there's only like 4 games left of the MLS season, and then there's the playoffs, which take about a month. So it's about a month and a half. So it's all going to be said and done by January.
Give us a month loan, 2-month. Robbie Keane used to do them, didn't he? Not to Spurs, but he used to do those 2-month loans.
I think he went to Villa or something.
Villa, Henry did it for Arsenal. Did a 2-month.
He went back to Arsenal.
Landon Donovan did it a couple of times for Everton.
Yeah.
2-month loan. I mean, if we're still having the same problems on the left-hand side come Jan, it could be worth a couple months. Why not?
If he wants to come back, I'll welcome him with open arms.
It's usually Jan to March, I think, isn't it? That's the loan period that they usually do. Those little 2 or 3 month loans.
Yeah. But yeah, bring him home, man. Bring Sonny home.
Why not?
I would love to see it. But he did say he wants to come back and say bye in front of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So we'll see him back in some sort of capacity. I don't think we're going to be seeing him play for Spurs, unfortunately.
Say bye for a couple of months. A nice goodbye tour. Farhand Zahid has said, some takeaways I have from the game. So let's go through his takeaway. He says, I would go as far as to say, I'd never start Palhinha and Bentancur together. It completely kills midfield balance. Playing 2 pivots like that only works if you have a front line that can create for themselves, i.e. Son and Kane. The only reason I disagree with this is because I do think in certain games, like it did against City away, it was the perfect midfield to play in that game. So I do think that, like, when we play PSG, I do want to see those 2, because I think it's the perfect midfield to have in that kind of fixture. When we go to the Emirates, I probably want to see those 2. When we go to Anfield, I want to see those 2, because you know that they're not going to lose that midfield battle, that a real fight. And another day could win it. So I don't necessarily agree with that, but I agree in these games it doesn't make too much sense when we're playing Wolves at home.
Yeah.
When we go to Leeds on Saturday, like, I don't understand the need for it.
Yeah, you need to
I would say away from home would probably works a bit better than at home.
Yeah, I mean, look, I said it at the beginning of the stream. At home, when you're playing teams that you're looking to dominate and you're the clear favourites to win the game, there is no need to play these 2 players in the middle of the park. It just doesn't do anything for us. You've got to get more ball players or better runners in the middle of the park. Like Pape, I can get behind. But even with Pape, I'd prefer to see a Bergvall and a Javi in the middle alongside one of a Palhinha, even a Sar, like just one of them. One of those defensive midfielders alongside a Bergvall, a Javi. That's what we need to see.
Even as well, especially playing Bentancur, Palhinha and Bergvall in the 10 rather than Xavi there. Like, even again, I'm not saying Bergvall isn't good. I'm just saying he's not like the most attacking number 10 where you can have like Simmons, who's really creative and is going to really look forward. Whereas Bergvall, I'm not saying he's not attacking, but he's not the same level as someone like Simmons. So even losing a bit more there again. So if you're going to play that pivot, you've got to at least you play that pivot to say, okay, that means we can play Xavi there because he's more protected. Like that makes a lot more sense to me. Like playing those two, then Bergvall and Simmons on the left. I don't understand that dynamic at all.
Yeah.
Number 2, he says, I would never start Xavi on the left wing in a 4-3-3 again. If you don't want to play him in the 10, then just don't start him because it just does not work.
Yeah, I mean, the reality is we need, like I keep saying, a top-level left winger. We don't have that. I haven't seen any evidence so far of him on the left wing that excites me. But again, it's only been a couple of games, so
when you compare his performances on the left to, Tel, Odebear and Johnson, you could say it's been probably either just as good or better than when them three have been playing.
Yeah, there's not too much in it though. I don't think. Like, we just need more quality out on the left wing and players that can impact games. And I think Xavi probably can do it because I think he can take on his man. He's got quality to find men in the box. So maybe he probably does have more quality on the left wing than the other players that we have there. But I just prefer to see him in the 10 because I think that's what gets the best out of him.
I wouldn't mind it if we had like a Decky or a Maddison in the 10 to replace, like to be with him. But when it's Bergvall, I just think Bergvall's a bit better deeper than he is in that 10 position.
When Decky comes back, though, I would love to see that front three of Decky, Xavi, and Kudus.
Yeah.
Whereas Decky, even as a left winger, I don't mind who plays where. Like all three of them together would be brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree necessarily never play him on the left wing. I just think it could work in certain games, but I think just with the dynamics that we got on the pitch, I think for the game we had on Saturday, he needed to be in the 10, but I don't think it can never work. Number 3, we need to be more proactive and brave in the early stages of games. This team seriously struggles if we go a goal down because we don't have enough quality in the attack to fight against low blocks. I think I know against Brighton, to be fair, we came back, but Bournemouth and Wolves, when we went down, we really struggled in both those games.
Yeah, it's true.
To get back.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
You've got to say as well, Brighton are quite more of a technical side rather than like maybe a physical side. So at the moment, the evidence definitely suggests when we concede the first goal, it's a lot more of a struggle for us than when we're managing the game. I guess, look, that is natural anyway. I think most teams would prefer to go a goal up than a goal down. But I think at the moment, how badly we struggled against Wolves and Bournemouth was quite concerning when going goal down.
It's very concerning, but like we keep saying, it's still very early days in Frank's tenure, and the patterns of play are going to come. They're going to get there, and I think we'll see us being a lot better from that aspect. But right now, yeah, it does. It majorly concerns you when you go 1-0 down.
I remember his Brentford sides were very good at coming back, but also they also gave up a lot of leads, didn't they? They were good at both. They were
like the team to watch last season in terms of excitement, weren't they?
They'll go up and then always give it away, and then they'll always go behind. If they ever went behind, they'll always come back. They were good at
I've seen his Brentford team just like go 1-0 down, 2-0 down against Man City, and then just completely wipe the floor with them. Just dominate them in all aspects and come back. So I mean, his teams have been exciting to watch. So I think he just needs more time on the training pitch. He needs to implement his attacking patterns of play, and he doesn't know his best 11 just yet as well. Yeah. I think once all those things come a bit more clear, and he needs more transfer windows as well. Let's not forget. So, yeah, all good things are coming.
And number 4, Kudus on the left looks significantly worse than the right, and we are desperate need of a class left winger, i.e. Semenyo, and I would splash the cash in that position in January.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think no one looks as good on the left as they are on the right. Brennan Johnson's one of them. Kudus is one of them. Tel and Odebear haven't done it yet. Xavi hasn't really done it yet on the left wing. So, yeah, you either need to... The thing is, like, to bring in a left winger, you need to sell one of them, surely. Like, you can't keep all of them at the club, especially with Tel missing out on Europe and the other players that we need to add to the European squad as well once the knockouts come round. So there's still a lot of, like, squad planning that need to go into just bringing in another left winger. But if we're just going to take that comment on face value, and I'm desperate to see another left winger to come to the club.
Yeah, I think so, but because of they're not doing it at the moment. But you got to remember, January in footballing terms is a long way away. Odebear or Tell, one of them can start clicking.
Yeah,
and
of
all
course.
of a sudden, we think differently. So if the window opens tomorrow, yeah, I'd go for a left winger. But let's be a bit more patient, see if we can get anything out of these players between now and January, and see if we can start. Because look, for me, there is talent there. There's options, there's talent, there's quality. So it's about, let's just see if we can get something out. I'm not sitting here saying, like, I don't believe in these players. I really do. I think all of them have got something. And I think Frank, knowing how he can get the best out of certain attackers, I really believe he can do it.
Yeah, it's just going to be a work in progress. It's not going to be like, yeah, Frank gets so much out of his forward players and then straight from the off, bang, all right, they're just going to be magically amazing. Like, he needs time to work on them.
He needs to understand them.
Exactly.
That's how he does it.
But the thing is with Tell, right, after missing out on the European squad, I really thought he had to do something in that Doncaster game. He had to have a fantastic display, and I thought he just went missing again, even against a team like Doncaster, which was very frustrating.
Yeah, agreed. He didn't have a good game. Yeah, it was a bad day for him. But look, he came on against Wolves, did okay. Look, I think we're, at the end of the day, a player like Tell of his age, your career ain't going to be defined, you didn't do something against Doncaster Wolves. He's going to have a few opportunities, I'm sure, between now and January. And he didn't take these first few, but it doesn't mean that's it for him. Look, he's going to get more opportunities. He has to take them.
Yeah. Yeah, spot on.
The same with Odebear as well. Yeah.
All right, is that it? No more comments?
That's it.
All right, well, that is the way, that's what you guys commented and the way we reacted. And let us know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all those talking points that we went through today. But that is it from us today. Good to be back, people. Thank you for your kind comments, and we'll be seeing you all again tomorrow for the live watch along. The press conference tonight will be on the channel around 7 p.m. Around about that time. I think he's speaking around 6:30. So watch out for that. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.